go, go, go! Let's do this.
Yo, what is going on, you guys? This is GamingWithSal, welcome back to the channel, and no, you did not read the title wrong. 50 plus weapons have indeed been leaked for Modern Warfare 2019, and of course, I'm going to be going ahead and breaking down this list of leaked weapons with you guys, so that you're kept up to date with the rumors of what weapons we might see when it comes down to this game. Now, I do want to go ahead and make it clear that I am aware that this news came out a couple of days ago, and I do apologize for not being able to cover this right away, but I have been busy with school and family related stuff, so I hope you guys can forgive me for that. But to make it up to y'all, I did go ahead and put together a more visual way of presenting this information to you guys so that you know exactly how these weapons look like, and also let you guys know what other Call of Duty titles these weapons have appeared in, just as a little fun fact on the side. And also, I want to go ahead and mention that since these weapons were decoded by data miners that were able to get into the files of the game on PC, that some of these weapons could possibly get cut from the game completely or even show up as DLC weapons. So go ahead and keep that in mind as we go through this list. But with that said, let's go ahead and jump right in by starting off with the assault rifles. So within this category of weapons, we have the AK-12, the AK-47, the FAL, the FR-556, which is also known as the FAMAS, the Kilo 141, which we haven't really gotten any gameplay with. However, people are saying that this is sort of looking like a version of the ACR, which is why I went ahead and decided to put the ACR here as the image to represent this weapon with. But once again, this one could be a little bit more different than how it's depicted right now through this video. Moving along, we also have the classic M4A1 making a return, and then we have weapons such as the M13 and the Odin that are brand new, and then finally we have the FN Scar 17S, which is pretty much like the Scar H or the Scar L, depending on which games you're looking at when it comes down to the Call of Duty franchise. Next up, for SMGs, we have the AK-74U, the AUG, the MP5, the MP7, the P90, the PP19 Bizon, which I'm pretty sure I butchered the pronunciation for this weapon, so I do apologize for that. But then we have the Uzi, and then finally the Vector. Moving along, for the LMGs, we have the M91, the MG34, the PKM, and then finally the SA87. For marksman rifles, we have the EBR-14, the Kar98K, which is a classic when it comes down to the Call of Duty franchise, and finally the MK2 carbine, which is pretty much what all the quickscopers are going to use since it has a very fast ADS timing, and that it also takes out enemies with one shot from the hip and above. Then for the shotgun category, we have the 725, the Model 680, the Origin 12, which is a brand new weapon that we haven't seen in Call of Duty before, and then we have the R9-0, which once again seems like it's going to be a brand new weapon that we haven't seen before. For snipers, we have a total of 7 different rifles, starting off with the AX50, which we got to play in the beta. Then we have the Dragunov, which is making a return from the classic Modern Warfare series. Then we have the HDR, which we haven't really gotten any gameplay of, but it was able to be seen during the beta. And then we have 2 weapons that don't seem to have proper names just yet. However, within the code of the game, they are known as the SN_A Whiskey, which this weapon has no description, unfortunately. And then later on, we also have the SN_India, which the description reads bolt action 308 scout rifle, exceptionally light and stable, headshot lethal. And then finally, this is a little bit of a weird one, but according to, once again, the code within the game, the crossbow is actually listed as a sniper rifle. Now, I really doubt that the sniper rifle category will have the crossbow within it, but a lot of rumors have been saying that this weapon is going to be coming in the form of a DLC weapon. So basically, I think that right now, just for the sake of putting the weapon into the game, they temporarily listed it as a sniper. But once again, I am pretty sure that this is going to change and be put into like a special category like we've seen in past Call of Duty games. Once again, that's just my thoughts on that. Okay, so for handguns, we have the 44 Magnum, the 50 GS, which is also known as the Desert Eagle, the 357, the 1911, the M19, the USP 45, and then finally the X16. So 7 handguns in total so far, which I'm not gonna lie is a pretty good amount for just having a sidearm. And then finally, last but not least, we have the launchers, which include the Joker, which also is known as the Javelin, and then we have the MGL-32 grenade launcher, which this weapon is listed to also have a separate version where it shoots out incendiary shells, so that's going to be definitely interesting. And then we have the Pila, which was available to us during the beta, and then we also have the Rambo, the RPG-7, the Strela P, and then also another launcher that goes by the name of the SA-24, and it's also noted that this weapon is going to act very similar to maybe something like a SAM turret that we've seen in games like Black Ops 1 and Modern Warfare 3. So this one is a very interesting launcher because it kind of sounds like it should be a kill streak, right? Like, I mean, if you have a launcher that you can just pull out and plant down into the ground and it just starts taking out enemy kill streaks, I don't know, that seems like a little too powerful to have just as like a sidearm. I mean, who wouldn't run this at that point, you know? So that one should be a very interesting launcher if it does end up making its way into the final version of the game. But with that said, there you guys have it. Those are all of the weapons that are apparently going to be making their way into Modern Warfare, whether that is going to be on the day it launches or later on as the game progresses within its life cycle. Now, according to a lot of other YouTubers, they seem to think that these are going to be all weapons that we see during the launch of the game, which, to be honest, I highly doubt, because 50 weapons is a lot to launch the game with. I mean, imagine this, right? You have 50 weapons when the game first comes out, and then of course they're going to throw in more DLC weapons. In the end, the game is going to have what, like maybe around 60 to maybe even 70 different weapons. That's nuts. And as much as I would want that many weapons to be in the game, I feel like that is way too much, to the point where most of these weapons are either going to be overshadowed by some of the other weapons in different categories that really stand out, or it's just too much, you know? Like, I don't know how to explain it. There's a quote out there that also says that too much of something is not good either, and I don't know why. I really feel like that if this game ends up having like 70 different weapons at the end of its life cycle, that it's not going to be good for the game, just because it's too much. But once again, I could be 100% wrong, right? Who knows? Maybe having 70 weapons in the game could be awesome, and a lot of people do end up enjoying that, but I don't know. 70 sounds way too absurd to me. So most likely I feel like that we will have 50 by the time the game comes to the end of its life cycle. That to me sounds a little bit more realistic. Once again, I mean, if they want to go ahead and throw 70 weapons in here, I mean, Infinity Ward, by all means, go for it. I mean, you'll be breaking records when it comes down to the total amount of weapons that are in a Call of Duty title. But once again, I'm just trying to look at it from a more realistic approach. On top of that, we have something like the crossbow that's listed as a sniper rifle within the code of the game, which once again is rumored to be a DLC weapon. So if in the future we do end up seeing the crossbow not make it to the final version of the game on the day of the launch of this game, and then it comes as a DLC weapon, then that basically confirms that most of these weapons can come back as DLC weapons, which in the end, hopefully they don't get locked behind supply drops, or that they are put into a system that is at least more fair than Black Ops 4's, and that can allow players to have a better and more fair chance of earning these weapons. Because in the end, we do know how microtransactions can kill a game that has a lot of potential. Once again, look at Black Ops 4. To me, that game did have potential in terms of gameplay perspective, but the way the events were handled and the way the microtransactions were handled pretty much just ruined the game. And the same thing can happen here with Modern Warfare, especially since we have 50 weapons that are supposed to be part of the game. And on top of that, each of these weapons have 30 to 60 different attachments, as well as the new blueprint feature that's coming to the game, which basically are variants of these weapons and these attachments that are going to be coming for certain weapons. So there are a lot of opportunities for Infinity Ward and Activision to become a little bit more egregious with their microtransaction systems and start charging players more money, or be putting content in systems like supply drops and locking them away behind these paywalls so they can go ahead and make a quick buck off of the consumers that are actually putting the time into this game. So hopefully, like I said, this doesn't happen, and that we actually can see most of these weapons be available to the majority of the people playing this game throughout its life cycle, rather than having like 5% of the community being able to own like the majority of these weapons, you know? I mean, at the end of the day, they are working hard to put these weapons into the game, so it doesn't make any sense to me to see that only a few amount of players are actually going to get their hands on them. I don't know, that's just my thoughts on that situation, but I feel like I just kind of went off on a tangent when it comes down to the way that these weapons can be handled in this game, which truly is a different topic. But I'm sorry, I can't stop talking about microtransactions just because I'm worried that they can become very, like I said, egregious with it and ruin the game. But that, like I said, is besides the point. In the end, I do feel like that this is a solid list of weapons, because it's a good mix of new versus classic weapons making a return, which kind of gives a little bit of the nostalgia factor to the game. However, it does make it authentic, like I said, by adding a good amount of new weapons as well. So that's my thoughts on this list. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below of these leaked weapons. I would love to hear your thoughts if you guys want to go ahead and share them. But with that said, if you guys enjoyed today's video, please go ahead and leave a like, comment, subscribe, click the bell icon so you'll never miss an upload, and follow me on my social media accounts to stay connected. Links will all be in the description below. I'll go ahead and talk to you guys in the next one. So take care of yourselves, and bye.